Hi there. Um, if you're a learner of English, you may have heard of phrasal verbs. You may love them, you may hate them, or maybe you're not really sure what they are. But if you really want to speak English fluently and you want to understand native speakers, then it is very, very important that you learn them. In this video, I'm going to explain exactly what they are, why you should learn them, and give you some ideas about how you can learn them easier. Okay? Great. Okay, let's start with what exactly is a phrasal verb. Don't worry, we won't get too technical. A phrasal verb is basically a verb, like look or take or make or go, and that verb is combined or put together with a preposition. Small words like on, off, up, down, in and out. Now, what is special about a phrasal verb is that when you put these two words together, the meaning of the verb changes completely. Think about the verb look. It means to see something with your eyes. Easy to understand. Now, sometimes we can put the verb with the preposition and the meaning is clear. For example, I looked up at the sky and saw a plane. This is not a phrasal verb. This is just a verb and a preposition with the usual meaning. The word look has its normal meaning, see with the eyes, and the word up has its normal meaning. But sometimes when we put the verb and preposition together, the meaning changes. For example, I looked up the word in the dictionary because I wasn't sure of the meaning. In this example, look up means to find information in a book or online. The words look and up cannot tell us this special meaning. We cannot look at those two words together and understand this special meaning it has in this sentence. This is why phrasal verbs can be difficult to learn, but it is important to learn them. Let me explain why. There are three really good reasons why you need to learn phrasal verbs. The first reason is that native speakers use them all the time. In everyday conversation, movies and songs, phrasal verbs are everywhere. Here are some examples.
Our phrasal verb of the day is to kick back. This means to relax and enjoy free time. For example, after a tough week, we went to the park at the weekend to kick back.
Our phrasal verb of the day is to talk out of. This means to persuade someone not to do something. For example, his friends tried to talk him out of quitting his well-paid job.
Our phrasal verb of the day is to bottle up. This means to keep strong emotions hidden rather than expressing them. For example, it's not healthy to bottle up your feelings. You should talk about them.
Native speakers normally learn phrasal verbs first and later learn the formal word which has the same meaning. For example, we will learn the phrasal verb get up. For example, I get up at 7 in the morning before we learn the formal word arise. The second reason to learn phrasal verbs is that they will make you sound more natural. Using phrasal verbs will make your English sound more like a real person and not like a textbook. Generally, people will use phrasal verbs before they use a more formal word. For example, we don't say, I'm going to concentrate effectively to finish my essay. We would say, I'm going to buckle down and finish my essay. Some people say that phrasal verbs are only for informal situations. This is not really true. It is true that we probably don't use so many phrasal verbs in formal writing, such as academic writing, business reports. But in most spoken situations and most normal everyday writing, such as email or messaging, we often and prefer to use them. And this includes work and business and study. So, for example, if I'm working in an office, I wouldn't say, I need to postpone the meeting. We would say, I need to put off the meeting. The last reason to learn phrasal verbs is that they help you express a specific idea or meaning quicker or better. In 2 or 3 words, phrasal verbs can express a very specific idea or meaning very clearly. For example, the phrasal verb pick apart. Let's look at this conversation between 2 students.
Hey, what's the problem?
Oh, I just got back my essay. My professor completely picked it apart.
The phrasal verb pick apart means to examine or analyse an idea or argument, usually to find a problem or an issue with it. So in 2 words, the student has expressed that meaning, and that is quite a complex and difficult idea. The phrasal verb pick apart also suggests that the student maybe feels a little stupid because the essay wasn't very well organised and the professor was able to see this. So you can see how useful a phrasal verb can be to express such a specific meaning. Here are some other phrasal verbs that can give a very specific meaning. The phrasal verb sleep off means to go to sleep so that you will feel better when you wake up, especially because of illness or maybe too much alcohol.
Bob, you've drunk too much. You need to go home and sleep it off.
Another phrasal verb is rustle up. This means to quickly find or prepare or make something, especially food, when there is little time or resources or ingredients available.
We didn't have much in the fridge, but I managed to rustle up a simple pasta dish for everyone.
And the last one is to frown upon. This means to disapprove of something, often used for rules or social behaviour.
In Asia, it is frowned upon to walk in the house with your shoes on.
So you can see phrasal verbs are very common in English, but they also make it easier to express exactly what you want to say. Okay, the last thing is, how do you actually remember and study these phrasal verbs? Here are a few tips for you to think about. First, when you learn them, try to sort of group them together in some way. For example, you could group them by the verb. You could learn all the phrasal verbs with take or make or go or look. Or you could learn them together by the preposition. So all of the phrasal verbs that have the preposition up. This is okay, but I would suggest a better way would be to study them by topic. So for example, organise together all the phrasal verbs about food or phrasal verbs about anger or strong emotions. On our channel, we have hundreds of phrasal verbs in our phrasal verb playlist, but we also have specific playlists focusing on specific topics such as study or work, and you can find phrasal verbs related to them in those playlists. Second, always try to learn them in context. On our channel, we always give a situation or conversation where the phrasal verb is naturally used. Often, phrasal verbs have a specific meaning or connection, so it's useful to write this down and remember it. It may have a sort of a negative or a positive meaning, so it's important to make a note if this is the case. Thirdly, start to listen for phrasal verbs. If you watch films, TV series, or listen to podcasts in English, see if you can find examples of phrasal verbs being used. You certainly will. There are thousands of them out there. And lastly, start small. Don't try to learn 100 phrasal verbs a week. Try to learn 1 or 2 a day. We have daily phrasal verbs on our channel, so this is a great place to start. Or you can ask AI, such as ChatGPT, Gemini to give you examples of phrasal verbs or examples of phrasal verbs around a specific topic. If you found this helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe. And do tell me in the comments if you have learned any new phrasal verbs or any phrasal verbs from this video has been useful to you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.